is the season for graduation ceremonies.
It is, but today our Doug Reardon went to one unlike any other, where inmates at the Handling Correctional Facility left with diplomas of their own.
This is a momentous occasion for all of us.
Outside a tent erected in the middle of a concrete basketball court, still wearing his Handling Correctional Facility jumpsuit, Raymond Potts shows up early, trying to catch a glimpse of his future. This will be his first degree, but Potts is no stranger to higher education.
Graduated from high school, had about a year and a half studies at Indiana University on a scholarship. Part of my history of making poor choices gave that away.
But inside that tent, decorated in maroon and gold, in a few minutes, he's about to get it all back. In 2015, Potts became one of the first students to test out a new experiment, the Calvin Prison Initiative. The collaboration with Calvin University offered Handling inmates their associate's or bachelor's degrees in 5 years. It's as much a lesson in education and corrections as it is on second chances. Closer to the ceremony, more graduates start to arrive, 76 of them. They look like graduates. Their degrees read Faith and Community Leadership, a major custom design for these students so they can put their education to use even if they never crossed the prison's threshold.
This is their world. This is their community. This opportunity reinstills a sense of hope in these guys and a sense of purpose and meaning, even if they're going to remain incarcerated.
In fact, 2/3 of the program's participants are serving life sentences. But already, graduates are leading religious services, working with inmates who have special physical, cognitive, or mental needs, and running substance abuse and addiction courses inside prison walls. Some have even gotten jobs on the outside. The next time we see Potts,
Calvin has a storied history and tradition for higher education.
He's clad in his cap and gown, on stage, addressing his fellow graduates before getting his degree alongside them.
Raymond Potts.
Outside,
This is a little bit of a game changer right here, yeah.
Potts sees his parents and reckons with a new future ahead.
Long time coming, it's arrived, and we're overwhelmed with this opportunity. So now we're looking forward to what's next.
Also outside celebrating is Valmarcus Jones, convicted of homicide almost 2 decades ago. Next to him is keynote speaker Geraldine Riley, who lost her son to murder. Valmarcus was the killer. But since Valmarcus entered the program, Riley, who the inmates affectionately call Mama Geraldine, has been his biggest supporter.
When we're young, we do make so many different choices and decisions that you pay for dearly with your life, you know, so just giving me a chance to give back.
Second chances. He's a God of second chances. My son didn't get to do this. And so, we can't change that. But what we can do is change the future, you know, and we can make sure that other sons know that it's not too late. Don't give up.
In Ionia County today, Doug Reardon, Fox 17 News.
Yeah, Doug, great story and a great program. Handling does have plans to expand the program soon. In fact, they built a brand new school to house it right on prison grounds.
Yeah, congrats to all the graduates today.
Yeah.
Still ahead tonight at 10, news outlets accusing the Secretary of State of hiding information related to the Patrick Lyoya investigation.
So Michigan historically ranks among some of the worst states in government transparency.
More details behind those claims and how the department is responding.
And a total stranger putting her medical training to use. How she jumped in to help out at a crash scene while heading to Tulip Time over the weekend.
Hey, Julie, whose dog is this?
It wasn't theirs. A couple waking up to find they were snuggling with an unknown dog that came in during the night, where they say he came from.
Tonight, Fox 17 is learning what happened inside the Secretary of State's office when staff tried to withhold information from public release. At issue, the driving record of Patrick Lyoya, who was shot and killed by a Grand Rapids police officer while resisting during a traffic stop. The Secretary of State's office put out this release to media back on April 15th, stating the Michigan Department of State condemns the killing of Patrick Lyoya. Moreover, the department will no longer provide the driving record and personal information of Mr. Lyoya to the media, nor will it provide to media such records and information of other victims of violence. The department provided Mr. Lyoya's record to 3 media outlets before recognizing that it was being included as an irrelevant detail that wrongly suggests he is culpable, I should say, for being shot in the back of the head by a Grand Rapids police officer. Now, Michigan law says the news can request information, specifically a driving record, when reporting on something that even partially involves the operation of a motor vehicle or public safety. And tonight, Fox 17's Julie Dunmeyer has an in-depth look at emails obtained through the Freedom of Information Act.
In the days after Patrick Lyoya was shot and killed by a Grand Rapids police officer, several news agencies filed requests with the Michigan Secretary of State for the 26-year-old's driving record. Some of those were granted, others weren't. The reasoning why is outlined in emails between the Secretary of State's staff members, where they question the relevance of the driving records and if they can legally withhold them. At 3:14 p.m. Thursday, April 14th, a Detroit News reporter asks for the driving record of Patrick Lyoya after it had already been given to some news outlets. That email is forwarded 1 minute later to other SOS staff, reading, "As requested, I have not responded." Instead, all questions are referred out to Michigan State Police. After a flurry of emails between state employees, the Secretary of State's Chief External Affairs Officer proposed the statement to the media withholding Lyoya's driving record. That email sent at 11:33 on Friday, April 15th. By 1:03 p.m., the Secretary of State responded, "This all makes sense to me. Thanks, Jake." The full statement went out to the media that afternoon. Hours after that, the department clarified the statement, saying there was no change in policy, but that they were reviewing the manner in which it provides driver records of any Michigan resident to third parties. In the days that followed, the Michigan Association of Broadcasters and other news advocates writing a letter to the department saying they're concerned about the agency potentially blocking access to records and information in this case, along with others in the future.
And the reason we want to have it is a big concern of ours as an association for broadcasters is to make sure that we have transparency at government.
Hours after the department's statement on Lyoya's records were sent out, Secretary Benson responding in an email to her staff saying in part, quote, "The entire first paragraph of this statement should not have been released. While we as individuals or I as a public leader may have my position and issue such a condemnation, it is not the role of the department to take a position on a matter that is the subject of an ongoing investigation," end quote. Going on to say fairness to all news media is Benson's standard. Quote, "Similarly, in my view, it is not appropriate for the department to subjectively release driving records to some media outlets and then refuse to do so for others because we disagree with how the information is being reported. We must have one single objective policy that we all follow and that is clear to the public and to the press," end quote. The Michigan Association of Broadcasters pointing out this is why they do what they do.
So Michigan historically ranks among some of the worst states in government transparency, especially as it pertains to the Freedom of Information Act.
Secretary Benson holding an all-staff meeting after this happened, saying she wants to make sure an error like this never happens again.
That was Julie Dunmeyer reporting. In the Michigan Association of Broadcasters and other free speech advocates are meeting with Secretary Benson's staff to discuss this type of issue next week and also get more into the specifics of policies regarding the release of information.
Meanwhile, police in Grand Rapids are looking for whoever fired shots into an occupied home this weekend. Happened around 6:30 Saturday night off of Brown Street Southeast. Nobody inside that home was hurt, fortunately. If you have any information, you are asked to call police or Silent Observer.
Still ahead, as violence continues in Ukraine, Russian forces appear to be stalled in the port city of Mariupol.
It is very possible that Ukraine will break the Russian army.
What it could mean for Ukrainian troops and the latest aid coming from the U.S.
Well, heat continuing to build in. Mild temperatures tonight. We're only going to get down to the low 60s. It's a good springboard for temperatures into the 80s tomorrow. I'll talk about how warm we get in that 7-day forecast coming up.
Russia repelled this aggression in a preventive way. This was the only correct decision.
Russian President Vladimir Putin reiterating that the West left him no choice but to invade Ukraine. Those remarks coming during his Victory Day speech earlier today. The day is meant to commemorate Russia's defeat of Nazi Germany at the end of World War II. During his address, he offered few clues about the direction of the conflict in Ukraine.
Putin's remarks come after more sanctions were announced against Russia over the weekend, with the U.S. cutting off Kremlin-controlled media outlets from American advertisers and banning Russia from using some American consulting services. Meanwhile, tonight, the Russians are still largely stalled in Mariupol, where some 2,000 Ukrainian troops are holed up in a steel mill under heavy bombardment and with little progress on the ground. Some are now suggesting the Ukrainians might have a chance to push Russian forces back across the border. The Pentagon says more badly needed weapons have arrived in Ukraine, including at least 85 pieces of heavy artillery.
A live look now with the satellite and radar, and there's not much happening in West Michigan. There hasn't been pretty much all day today. A few clouds are starting to build in over Lake Michigan, but those are even hard to show up because they're such high clouds. Most of the moisture and cloud cover well out into Wisconsin right now. Excuse me. And the precipitation with that as well. A few thunderstorms are actually popping off, severe thunderstorms ahead of this warm front. It's going to bring some decent lift, and with that going to bring us much warmer temperatures the next several days. We're looking at 80s here by the middle of this week. We're still at 71 right now. At 10:30 at night, and to the south and west, there's still upper 70s and mid 80s there. We're going to see that here in the next 24 to 48 hours or so as well. So current temperatures: 74 in Muskegon, 72 Holland and South Haven. The 60s look to be east of US 131, and we'll all cool down tonight, but it's not going to stay that way forever. We're going to continue to warm up going into tomorrow and again on Thursday and Friday. So here's a future track with the cloud cover increasing overnight tonight. This rain will move over Lake Michigan, but dry out by the time it gets to us. We're not looking for any significant chances of precipitation, but there is a slight chance for precipitation. As we go into Wednesday morning, you can see that there is a lot showing up on the future track going into Wednesday, but it does not look to be very significant. I think most of it will be fairly light or isolated rather than one big rain cell moving through. And by the time we get to Wednesday, Wednesday afternoon, we're going to be back to dry conditions and a really nice setup for those temperatures to climb into the mid to upper 80s. So highs tomorrow going to be 81 Grand Rapids, 81 in Holland as well. A little bit cooler in Muskegon because of due south wind. They're going to get a little bit of a breeze off of Lake Michigan as that wind slowly starts to shift from southeast to south tomorrow. And then eventually southwest, and that southwesterly wind by the time we get to Wednesday is what's really going to drive up those temperatures. We got in the sweet spot of a high pressure system and then a low pressure system. We're driving in that southwest wind, bringing up as much heat as possible. It's going to be a really, really nice stretch for the next few days after that rain chance on Wednesday. And we're looking at record potential heat as well. Wednesday, we're looking to forecast to tie it. Thursday, 1 degree short, and Friday to tie that as well. You can see the records were set on Thursday, just over 10 years ago. Wednesday and Friday set just about 30 years ago. So some pretty good record temperatures we're looking to match, if not tie or break, going into the second half of this week. So outside of the temperatures, 85 on Wednesday, that's the best chance for those scattered showers, maybe an isolated thunderstorm as well. But we'll clear out in the afternoon after that morning wave of rain moves through. And not everybody's going to see rain either. Thursday and Friday, dry once again for all of West Michigan. Friday looks to be the warmest day. And then we start to cool down as the system moves through Saturday, scattered showers in the afternoon, maybe an isolated thunderstorm with that as well, before more widespread showers on Sunday and Monday, bringing those temperatures back down into the 60s.
All right, so we'll enjoy the heat while it lasts.
I'm sweating, just look at those temperatures.
All right, Reese, thank you. Still ahead, a woman heading to Tulip Time this weekend rerouted after witnessing a crash.
I was in the back seat. I could see out the rear window that the driver of the red car was unconscious. So just told my mom to call 911 and I got out.
What she did to help out at the scene and what police say happened.
And the Detroit Zoo is one animal short after a wallaby went missing over the weekend. We have a closer look at the search efforts and why they're being called a race against the clock.
I had to switch from mom mode to rescue mode.
A woman with prior medical training jumping into action yesterday after being involved in a 3-car crash in Holland. As crowds filled the area for the first weekend of Tulip Time, she helped make sure everyone was taken care of until first responders could get on scene. It's a great story, and our Michael Martin shares it with you tonight.
It happens so fast.
Just before noon at this often busy intersection on the outskirts of downtown Holland, Stacy Cow, her 9-year-old daughter, and her mom were driving towards the Tulip Time festivities to watch her niece's dance performance.
But we were idling, like going 5 miles an hour, trying to go through the intersection.
When all of a sudden, a blue Ford Focus pulled out in front of a red Ford Escape. The vehicles collided, and the red Escape in turn smashes into the side of Cow's car.
I looked behind me, and I could see out because I was in the back seat, I could see out the rear window that the driver of the red car was unconscious. So just told my mom to call 911 and I got out.
But she didn't panic. No, in an instant, she fell back on her prior training as a certified medical assistant.
Once I got in his car, when I saw that he was unconscious, he had a pulse. It was strong, but it was rapid.
As her mom called for paramedics, she rushed to make sure the 66-year-old man in the red Escape was all right.
His airway was being kind of cut off because his head was dangling so far down. So I just held his head up in place to keep his airway open.
While the driver of the blue Ford Focus, who police say was at fault for the accident, was not injured, Cow says she tried to make sure panic didn't set in.
The most important thing is to stay calm.
Fox 17 spoke to police investigators Monday who were able to confirm that while the 66-year-old man who Cow assisted on scene was taken to the hospital for serious injuries, they are not life-threatening and he is expected to recover.
Your training never goes away. It's like riding a bike. It just comes right back and you know what to do.
Michael Martin, Fox 17 News.
Yeah, police say that the 33-year-old woman who was driving the blue Ford Focus was in fact cited for making an improper left turn.
Today marked the deadline for those $400 refund checks from your auto insurance company. If you didn't get yours yet, there are some steps that you should take. First and foremost, officials say contact your insurance company directly about it. You can also contact the Department of Insurance and Financial Services at 833-ASK-DIFS to follow up. Insured drivers using cars, trucks, RVs, and motorcycles are all eligible for a refund. Historic vehicles are also eligible for a refund, but only $80.
Well, police in Detroit arrested a guy this weekend after he was caught on video trying to scale the 727-foot Renaissance Center downtown. Police are still trying to determine what motivated him to do this and haven't really said anything else about charges either. And tonight, it's a race against the clock to find a young wallaby missing from the Detroit Zoo. The Joey, who's less than 5 months old, was last seen around 5 p.m. on Saturday and was discovered missing from the zoo's Australian Outback Adventure habitat early Sunday morning. A search team of more than a dozen people have been searching the area for him, with officials saying as each day passes, the chances of finding him alive are unlikely, since he'll still need to nurse and can't live without his mom yet. They say since he's the size of a rabbit, it's also possible he gets snatched up by an owl or a hawk. One other scenario is someone took the baby wallaby, and zoo officials say if people want to help in the search, they should come on down.
So sad. Hopefully there's a happy ending.
Hopefully,
there,
fingers
right?
are crossed.
Still ahead, what was supposed to be a visit to paradise turned into a fatal trip.
What officials are saying after 3 American tourists died. One was hospitalized following a resort stay in the Bahamas, and why they don't suspect foul play.
Temperatures the next 5 days in the 80s, well above average. Our average high only in the upper 60s, but we do have a cool down moving in next weekend. I'll break down the full 7-day after the break with the rain chances ahead.
Investigators are still working to learn what killed 3 American tourists at a resort in the Bahamas this weekend.
And they're hoping that pending autopsies and toxicology reports could shed some light on the cause. Those deaths happened at the Sandals Emerald Bay Resort. One was a man from Florida who was celebrating his anniversary. His wife ended up being airlifted. She survived. The other 2 deaths were a couple from Tennessee who had been staying at the villa next door. The Bahama health officials say some hotel guests had gone to a clinic Thursday with nausea and vomiting.
All of them had reported feeling ill, and they, as was reported already, were seen by the medics.
Toxicologists are now looking at both villas to see if environmental factors could be to blame, and are looking at things like the water heater and air conditioner to see if carbon monoxide might have been involved. Authorities do not suspect foul play in the deaths, and for now the resort, which is cooperating with the investigation, does remain open, and Bahamas health officials say that there appears to be no threat to anybody else staying on that property. Reese Cole is back with another check of our forecast, and we had a long start to our spring, but I think we're finally getting rewarded for it this week.
Yeah, I lagged behind, and now we're making up for it with temperatures about 15 degrees above average for the next 4 to even 5 days. A really nice stretch of weather ahead, and I think the cloudiest day is going to be tomorrow. We'll see more and more sunshine as we wrap up this work week as well. Mild temperatures continuing to settle in. We're still in the upper 60s or lower 70s for all of West Michigan. At 10:45 at night at the beginning of May, that's very uncommon, and it's really nice to see too. It's a warm welcome for us all. We're at 67 in Marshall, 69 in Three Rivers, 73 still in South Haven along the lakeshore, 72 in Granville. Really nice weather. You can see the warmest temperatures are west of 131, the coolest east. Huge part in that due to that southeast wind where all the warm air is driving up along Lake Michigan. So the clouds starting to filter in into southeastern Wisconsin, now over Lake Michigan as well, and will slowly build in over our area overnight tonight and into tomorrow. The rain and the thunderstorms out west will make their way over Lake Michigan, but weaken and fall apart nearly completely by the time they get here. So we're going to stay dry tonight. Our low temperature tonight at 61 degrees with a southeast wind at 10 to 15. We'll get lighter though as we get into tomorrow. So here's a future track, and the rain again continues to lighten and weaken and dry out by the time it gets over West Michigan. Tomorrow afternoon tomorrow morning will be mostly cloudy, turning partly cloudy, and then early Monday morning you saw the rain pass by there. That's going to be our best chance for an isolated shower or storm, but it'll be gone by the time we get to noon on Wednesday, and we're back to mostly sunny skies Wednesday afternoon. Highs tomorrow, 81 Grand Rapids, 82 Kalamazoo, a little bit cooler along the lakeshore. That wind's starting to shift from the southeast to eventually the southwest. So the rest of your 7-day forecast looks like this. Temperatures into the mid-80s Wednesday, Thursday. Friday looks to be the warmest day of the week with mostly sunny skies. The overnight low is in the 60s until we get to this weekend, and then the next system sets